you're not very much free to speak on anything. But if there's a platform of scholars, platform of civil servants, platform of students, platform of simply some group of learners, and if they are allowing to speak on this type of topics, so definitely I'm really, really grateful to all of you. And I really grateful for giving me this opportunity. So, Dr. Chair, I'm really grateful to you, sir, and I'm very grateful to Dr. Jaidev, sir, also. So, when Dr. Jadev has called me that we need to speak on a topic, so I need to choose a topic. So, and we will be discussing that either I can take a topic on border security, or I will be taking a topic on evolution of public speaking and democracy. But I think that border security is, yes, of course, this is a topic which is in currency right now because of that Galwan thing and continuous skirmishes between India and China. But that demands some sort of updating, and that is the area of some expertise which is not very much concern of general public sometimes. But this particular topic which I have chosen to speak on, that is very much close to my heart, because I consider politics not just the field of some people or some people who are having expertise, or the people who are leading the mass, are the people who are playing some roles in some capacity or various government offices or in the public spaces. But politics is very much connected to all, and if we think what is political, so political means related to all. So any concern which is very much connected to each and everything, each and everybody, that is politics. And in the era of democracy, if the people who are having the utmost authority, if they don't know how to speak and how to participate in public speaking, so definitely, though you are having the power that you are participating in democracy, but you don't know how to participate freely in democracy. So the quality of public speaking is very, very important. So that's why I have chosen this topic, and I will try my level best to ponder on this topic, and I will try to highlight some issues here and there, so that we can have some concerns to be addressed, at least at intellectual level, at least at the discussion level. So when I have started a little bit studying about the evolution of public speaking, I was really amazed that this is not very much new thing. As a student of political science, of course, when you discuss about democracy, so in modern sense of the term, democracy could be having a recent origin in modern sense of the term. But when you talk about public speaking, so you will be finding a very long history, irrespective of the nations and civilizations. So with this PPT, I will be trying to portray the whole evolution of public speaking, and I will also talk the interconnection between public speaking and democracy. Yes. These are the points which I am thinking that I will be covering during my lecture. So first, I will highlight the traditions of public speaking. Then we will be talking on the interconnection between public speaking and democracy. And then the fourth one, I will be talking on the concerns of public speaking, because the act of public speaking is a very, very responsible act, and it's really plays a very important role in the public life. So when we start to search about the evolution of public speaking, I will begin with Tohetuk, the maxims of Tohetuk, and it was so long before 2400 BCE, and there is this tradition of public speaking. You can say that it has started from that time. And you will be amazed to know that in that maxim of Tohetuk, that was in 2400 BC, they were talking about silence, the significance of silence in public speaking. It means you are speaking and you know that when you need to be silent, and when you need to use the skill of speaking. Timing thing that yes, issue is you are at any issue which you are addressing, but you know when you need to offer what. So that timing is very much important. Third one, which I have just selected, some virtues I have selected from the maxims of Tohetep in order to highlight that even at that time, people were of the thinking that public speaking played very important role. So third virtue, that truthfulness. So whatever you are speaking, the utmost virtue must be truthfulness. If you are speaking lie, at least in front of public, so that is a very futile exercise actually. So if you are speaking freely and if you are speaking in the front of public, so there must be having some truthfulness. Next thing is relationship. So you must not act that you live in isolation. What you are speaking, what you are when you are choosing the words while communicating the people, that must reflect that you are very much related, that you must believe in the social spirit of the people, and you are a social human being. So whatever you are choosing as a phrase, as a verb, as a words, that shows that you are very much connected to the mass actually. And the last one is manners. When I'm talking about manners, so that would vary from one civilization to another civilization. So which type of public you are trying to addressing, which type of public you are dealing with, you must communicate with those type of manners so that it could appeal and you can connect with the audience instantly. Second thing in my slide that I have highlighted in red, and just see that before that 2400 years ago, if someone is saying like that, that is really beautiful to understand that only speak when you have something worth saying. It means speaking is a really great art, and especially public speaking. So Tohetop, according to Tohetop, you need to speak only when you think that whatever you're going to speak, that is really worth saying. So so if you're not going to say something which is really worth saying, so silence is golden then. So I, this was really a very this was really amazing fact for me personally when I was studying about these things, that before that 2400 years ago, if someone is highlighting these virtues, and those virtues are still relevant for public speaking. So only speak when you have something worth saying. And the third one I have written from that particular text, that speaking as defending tool. That at that time, in that tradition, that sometimes there are some type, always in society, some sort of crimes are going on. So sometimes you need to defend yourself. So you need to earn that skill in that way that at least you can defend yourself. So speaking publicly, this is not only an art but also a personal requirement. That because at that time, in when justice system was in, you can say, in a nascent form. So you need to defend yourself, and in order to defend yourself, because trial would be happen on public stage. So you need to know how to put your points. You need to know how to defend yourself. So public speaking was very much relevant even at that time. Now we can highlight development of public speaking from one country to another country, but willingly I have chosen to choose my country, the country which we live in, India, because our country is having a vast tradition of public speaking, and you can highlight it. You can trace it from 2600 BC to 6th BC. So really long tradition of public speaking. Here, yes, of course, I'm not the expert of historical tradition, but in a very precise manner, I'm saying that starting from Harappan culture to later Vedic era, and then post Vedic era, and then in Gupta period, Gurukul tradition, then Charvaka tradition, Buddha, or you can say Nyaya Sutra. So you will find the interconnectedness. Which type of interconnectedness? That you will find some symbols, some practices. We cannot say anything in a very confidence, but of course there's you are getting answer for something from your teachers, and whatever you have recorded on the basis of that discussion, which was happened between you teacher, that must come under Upanishads. And then comes the tradition of Shastrartha. So debate, discussion, that is actually Shastrartha. Shastrartha means you are trying to capture the original connotations, original meaning of the various treatises. So Shastrartha, and that the particular word was logged out sometime in debate and discussion. So we can say that in India, of course, we are having a long, great tradition of public speaking here. In all that, I must say about Nyaya Sutra. Nyaya Sutra, and I personally accept here that before studying about these things, I must have heard about Nyaya Sutra, but I was not aware that Nyaya Sutra was having that type of significance and importance. So, what is Nyaya Sutra? Nyaya Sutra was a compilation of various conclusions and various observations, and it was not just the outcome of just 1 year, 2 year, or 10 year, or 20 years. It was actually capturing the whole tradition starting from 6th century BC to 2nd century CE. It means the whole 8 years long tradition of the study of the public speaking. So, what is Nyaya Sutra? Nyaya Sutra was the study of public speaking. So you will find the tradition of study of public speaking not only in India but also in Greece and in Rome. But even in those countries, you won't find that long tradition of public speaking. That is 800 years long tradition, and that is Nyaya Sutra. And I'm not here saying that in India you are finding just the tradition of public speaking. I'm pointing out here that you will find 800 years long tradition of study of public speaking. So this is really remarkable fact. So here I have mentioned a shloka from Nyaya Sutra in Sanskrit, that is Satyam Bruyat Priyam Bruyat Na Bruyat Satyam Apriyam Priyam Cha Nanratam Bruyat Esh Dharma Sanatana. So I have just picked one hymn from this Nyaya Sutra, and that says that you need to speak truth, and you need to speak not only truth but also in a very acceptable manner, in a very pleasant manner. If you're not being able to speak the truth in a very pleasant manner, so rather you must not speak anything. And so you need to speak in a very pleasant manner, and also you need to speak in a very truthful way. Okay, and if you are being able to speak truth and in a very pleasant manner, this is this is very important in our tradition. Esha Dharma Sanatana. So it means, according to Nyaya Sutra, if you are a public speaker, so you need to present the truth in a very presentable manner, in a very communicable manner, in a very accepted manner. As I have said, that Nyaya Sutra is covering 800 years long tradition of study of public speaking in India. There you will find the terminology Katha Vada, means nowadays we are using the word debate and discussion. So now, and at that time there was a term for that, Katha and Vada. And I'm just picking some snippets from the Nyaya Sutra, but just to give you an insight, so that you will have that understanding that in our country we were having the long tradition of the study of public speaking. It means there is no debate on that whether as a civilization we would be having that understanding that public speaking is very much important or not. So definitely we were having that understanding that public speaking was very much important, because we have studied it in a very serious manner, and that was for 800 years long tradition. So in that particular Nyaya Sutra, you will find that there are 3 types of debates. First are you are doing an honest debate, and both sides who are participating in that debate, they are doing that debate just for the sake of seeking truth. It means it was not just for the entertainment. You are indulging yourself in the debate in order to seek truth. That is Vaya type of debate. That is the most preferable type of debate. Second one is Jalpa. Jalpa means that your primary concern is not seeking truth, but in any way you want to win that discussion. Goal is just winning by any means. That is a Jalpa type of debate. And third one is Vitanda. Vitanda means either you are not having this goal of seeking truth, and nor you are having that goal that you need to win, but you want to demolish the opponent, no matter what it takes. And I must say here that the term nowadays you're not using the term via Jalpa, but I think some of you must have heard about the term Vitanda. It means if you are not participating in a discussion in a acceptable manner, if you're not searching, if you're not seeking truth in a discussion, you are just doing that thing for the sake of doing that thing. It means you are spreading Vitanda. So in Hindi language, this Vitanda word was also still it was quite being used by the people to represent that particular fact, that particular person who was not interested to have a truthful or meaningful discussion, but just to demolish the cause, demolish the purpose, and demolish the opponent. Here I also want to say that that there is a difference between to defeat anybody and to have that by your virtue you need to win the people, you need to win the heart of the people. But if your focus is just to defeat anybody, so at the end of the day you are not coordinating with that person, you are not connecting the people, you are actually disconnecting the people. So when you are at winning the heart of the people, it means at the end of the day, at the end of the discussion, you are connecting the people. But when you are not when your focus would be just to defeat any person, means you want to demolish that identity, the person in which you are indulge in discussion, it means at the end of the day you are disconnecting the people, and that is not acceptable, and that is not the purpose of any type of debate actually. So Vitanda term is very being used nowadays, and so it's still relevant. Now, just this particular screenshot I have taken from internet. I think this is a printed copy of NYAYA Sutra, and in here you will find that there is a more than 16 or 15 one sec. Yes, 16 type of arguments they have identified, that when you are indulged in a debate or discussion, so you can offer 16 type of arguments. And with this, you can understand the seriousness of the study of public speaking, which was done in our country. So first one is Praman, means fact, the means of right knowledge, means how you have sought that information. Then second one is Prameya, the object of right knowledge. Then third one is Samasya, doubt. Then fourth one is Prayojan, means purpose. Then you are having Dristant, means example. You are giving your logic with citing some appropriate example. Then Siddhant, tenets. Then Avyava, means member, the 5-part method. The Tark, means confutation. The Nirnaya, ascertainment. Then Va, the discussion. Jalpa, Vitanda, which we have discussed. Then Hetva Bhasha, means fallacy. You are just propagating wrong information here and there. Then Chal, means you are doing quibbling. Then Jati, means analog, and Nigraha, and the point of defeat. So I have just selected this particular screenshot just to show that in our country we were having a very great tradition of public speaking, not only as a great public skill but also as a discipline. So I think this slide had justified that particular significance. Now we need to come to 300 BC. We all have heard the name of Kautilya, Chanakya, and in his Arthashastra he spoke about public speaking and the significance of public speaking. First thing which I need to say that Kautilya, we need to give that credit that in Arthashastra we are not finding the wisdom of just one individual. First, he has preserved the long tradition of political scientists, Indian political scientists. If you won't find the names of all the political scientists, but definitely you will find the thinking and thoughts of that political journey. So in Arthashastra, you will find the collections of political wisdom of all the predecessors. And second, Kautilya has established the significance of public discourse. And the third one is, which is really important, because he assigned some duties to king. When you study about the monarchy in Western countries, so you will be hearing something like that I am the state, as Louis XIV has said. But in Indian tradition, yes, of course, king is the representative of having some so-called divine origin. But at least in our political tradition, we are giving some moral duties to king, and that was so obligatory to follow. As a king, if you're not finding, so definitely you are going to lose your legitimacy in the public. So, in this text, with the help of Kautilya, we can have that insight that in our ancient India, we were having this particular tradition of public speaking in a very full bloom. Now come to the 5th and 9th century AD. This is Bhakti movement, and if you closely observe the Bhakti movement, this is a very beautiful amalgamation of different caste, class, religions, and Bhakti movement is coming was a very spontaneous response to all type of inequality, especially social inequality. So that was a religious response, a collective response, which shaped our country. And if today our country is having secular tenet, so definitely you can trace that secularism, that we are having that origin from Bhakti movement, and even you can go some even you can go back a little bit back also. So Bhakti movement was a really very great movement, because it was amalgamation of different caste, class, religion, and it has started from South India, came to North India, and in a way you can say that when we were having Bhakti movement, so it has established the cultural unity of our country, much before we have adopted the political unification as a country. So if you analyze Bhakti movement, so you will find the relevance of public speaking. So in the form of bhajan, in the form of sacred text, in the form of several chanting, that was a very classic example of public speaking. And what is public speaking? You are in any way you are trying to address the mass, the commoners, and you are highlighting the problems and crises of the common mass, and at the same time you are not highlighting the crisis, but also you are offering the solutions, just to adopt the virtues of humanity. And in that way, that was actually social political response to the existing um, dominating class. So in our country, we can highlight the tradition of public speaking very in a very impressive way in 5th and 9th century AD, in the form of Bhakti movement and Sufism also. And in 850, you will find the examples of Sufism coming from the Afghanistan and Iran, Persia, through Kashmir, and then percolating in our South India too. So Sufism was also is very much tolerant. They are having that virtue that they're quite tolerant, and they believe that everybody is same, everyone is same here, and everyone is the son and daughters of the Almighty. So in that Sufism and that Bhakti movement, you will find that in India we are having the long and very proud tradition of public speaking. And why I have picked Bhakti movement and Sufism, because on the surface they gave results. Actually, they gave that type of revolutionary result and revolutionary outcome, which is still relevant nowadays. So nobody can eradicate this particular impact which was made by Bhakti movement in starting from 5th to 9th century, then in Sufism in 850 AD. Now, when we talk about public speaking in worldwide, now come to the Renaissance period in 1300 to 1600, dominating ideas was humanism and rationalism. In humanism, you can say that was the first attempt when you are constructing that idea that man is the measurement of each and everything, and you can have some, and you are qualifying as a man, you are qualifying as a human, because you are having some natural rights, because you are having some natural claim, and you must possess some sort of virtue that must be very that will build a humanitarian aspect. So humanism, when you think about humanism, in parallel, you will find why we are having that type of connotation coming from humanism in the form of humanism, because you will find the very uh, impactful tradition of public speaking during 1300 to 1600. Second one is quite obvious, that is rationalism. Yes, of course, we are having Renaissance, then modernism. And what was the underpinning of Renaissance and modernism? That was rationalism. That if you are a human body, if you are a human individual, definitely you are having rational faculty. And whatever you are going to choose, you first make it go through your rational faculty, and you will do that logical filtration, and you won't accept anything if it is not accepted by your rational faculty of your mind. So rationalism, in the movement of humanism and rationalism, you will find the tradition of public speaking pouring in from 1300 to 1600. Here I have collected some pictures of the great speakers from the West, dominantly from America. So, and I have not picked them just because they are the great men. I have picked because they have said something very important, and they first they got popularity as a public speaker, and then they had become something very meaningful in their life. So there's some I have picked some statement. This is really really important even nowadays. So Patrick Henry in 1775, he said that give me liberty or give me death. So that type of powerful speaking to communicate the mass, that type of simple words which are echoing with the heart of mass, that is very much important. Now Abraham Lincoln in 1809 to 1865, he said that do I not destroy my enemies when I make them my friends? So you, as I have said earlier, that at the end of the discourse, if you're not connecting the people, so you are ultimately defeating the purpose of whole discourse. Now, Martin Luther King, 1963, I have a dream, and I think everybody knows that what was that dream. John F. Kennedy, we must use time as a tool, not as a couch. So just look the beautiful phrase he coined, that we must use time as a tool, not as a couch. So you are presenting truth, at the same time you are maintaining that balance, so that your voice, your communication must be look very pleasant, must be feel very pleasant. And Barack Obama in 1961, Barack Obama has said that the quotation I have picked, this is really, really important even nowadays, and that's why I have picked, my fellow Americans, we are and always will be a nation of immigrants. We were strangers once too. So that shows that yes, of course, as a humanity, as a set of people, we are having some here and there, some vulnerabilities, but together we can come out from those vulnerabilities. And this is the job of a public speaker, that he must expose some vulnerabilities. At the same time, he must offer some solutions, some glue, so that we can have that cooperation and we can come out from that crisis. Now, this I have covered just in I think not each and every aspect I have covered, and also I have left the study of public speaking in the West. Willingly, I have left that. The focus what I'm sharing right now. The focus must be what is the connection between public speaking and democracy. Uh, First, we need to understand what is democracy. Definitely, I'm not going to define what is democracy. But one thing I need to say here, that starting from the political system, now democracy has become a virtue actually. So almost each and every nation who are not having that functional democracy, they too want to say, want to refer like that they are democratic country. So nowadays we need to understand that irrespective of the nation, that nation is following the spirit of democracy or not, but almost each and every nation is saying that they are democratic nation. Like China is saying that I'm a nation who are having direct democracy, and they are saying that countries like India, they are having representative democracy. So that's why I'm saying that this is the era where each and every state, they are trying to say that they are democratic state. And in a real sense, whether they are democratic or not, that would be the question that you can analyze with certain parameters. But democracy has become an acceptable political virtue nowadays. That is beyond discussion. So. First, I need to say that in the time of Isocrates and Cicero, they have recognized, while studying about public speaking, they have recognized that there is a relationship, very close relationship, between public speaker and civic engagement. So we know that in democracy, participation is the crucial thing. If you are not participating in political processes, definitely you are not pursuing, you don't believe that you live in a democracy. And this relationship, the relationship between civic engagement and speech and speech, that was firstly identified and drafted in the text of Isocrates and Cicero. For Cicero, I need to say that Cicero was not just a thinker, a writer who has given some analogy to study of public speaking, but in personal life also, in his public life, he also led a public life that was very much participating in nature, and he raised his voice against that time of nobility, and that time there was military dictators. And what happened, as I have said, the moment you start speaking, yes, of course you need to take some risk, because that is very much natural. The moment you are speaking for each and everybody, each and everyone, there must be some sort of risk. And you need to take that risk because you are a responsible person. So Cicero did that. Cicero fought against nobility and military dictators, and ultimately earned the same fate as Socrates. I think everyone knows about Socrates and what happened to Socrates. So this is the same story with Cicero also. Cicero. What happened that Octavian and Mark Antony, and then Antony had killed him, and Cicero was raising the bias, and then finally he paid the price. So in public life, democracy, when I said that democracy has become a virtue, so democracy doesn't have any type of meaning if the people who are having ultimate authority, if they're not participating, if they're not exercising their rights, if they're not participating in any capacity which is possible for any individual, it means they are not, they don't believe that they live in democracy, or somewhere they are lacking the sense of political literacy. This is really, really important. I need to say here that the more you raise your voice, you make your system more democratic. If you are not raising your voice, so it means you are not contributing. You are not contributing to make your system even more democratic. This is the time when we are living that people are asking, and I have said this thing from many reputed professors also, that yes, of course, as a citizen, we are having the right of criticism, but that criticism must be very fair. And this is really ridiculous to me, that why people are expecting that when people start criticizing to their government, so they must be doing only fair criticism. So why I'm raising this concern? Because in democracy, when we say that everyone is enjoying that universal adult franchise, at the time of election, everyone is casting his or her vote. The person who is just crossing 18 years age, that person would be able to cast his vote or her vote. At that time of election, nobody was raising that question, that a vote of a professor, vote of a doctor, vote of a social qualification, their understanding about political systems. But when we form a government, and it might be possible that the government in power, it might be possible you have casted a vote to that party, and that party right now in power, and it also can go vice versa. But any party who is in power, that party is expecting that people can criticize. Definitely, it's democracy, but only when they are assuring that they are doing only fair criticism. This is really ridiculous, because at the time of election, you are inviting each and everybody, irrespective of their caste, class, and the qualification and contribution. And why having that much fear for criticism? If people are criticizing, even unfair criticism, it actually gives an opportunity for the party who is in power. Suppose one person is criticizing on a very light ground, or that particular person is criticizing and that person is not having any fact. So even that particular situation is giving ample opportunity to the party of which is in power, and very easily party can offer some facts, government can offer facts, and people will understand that that person was criticizing very badly, and that person was not having any fact. And alternatively, suppose one person is criticizing really in a very fair manner, and that person is having facts. So in a way, that person is serving the people of country. In a way, that person is serving to the democratic processes of our country. So in any way, if criticism is fair, still it's very much favorable, and we need to appreciate that concern. And if criticism is not that fair, so that is very much easy to penetrate by any government. So in any way, why people who are in authority, why people are in power, they are having that expectation that in democracy they would be only having fair criticism. That's why I have said, the more you raise your voice, you make your system more democratic, because you are participating in various processes. It means you are responding to the political developments, and this proves very encouraging to the health of our democratic system. Now, second thing I have written here, that trying to love politics instead of hating politics. By the virtue of teaching profession, I communicate almost each and every day to my students, and especially the students who just joined this university. They are in a fashion to say that I hate politics. This is very it pains to me, because there's a difference between politicizing the thing and politics. Politics is not a synonym of conspiracy. If you are not finding gas connection, it doesn't mean that someone has done politics to you. If you are not finding any seat to any medical college or any particular university, it doesn't mean that someone has done politics to you. Politics is the name of a discipline, and politics is an art, politics is a science, and politics is a tradition. It means that any concern connect to each and everyone. Here I want to highlight one more thing. I think it's really interesting about politics. That in social science, only politics is the subject which cannot afford to be so individualistic. In psychology, that subject can afford to be individualistic. You can have one object, and that object can have personal issues. In economics, also, you can afford to be so individualistic. You can study on a person who had made a great empire, an economic empire. You can study one individual investment. In almost each and every discipline, including natural sciences, you can have individual responses, individual inputs. But politics cannot afford to be so individualistic. I can give you one example in support of that view. Even if you are discussing about individualism, that particular debate, that particular concern also would be discussed in relation to another individuals and in relation to other individuals. It means, yes, of course, in political science we can discuss about individualism, but that discussion must be in connection with other individuals. Like about right, we can say, we often say that my freedom ends where your nose begins. So even if you are discussing about individualism in political science, that must not be so individualistic. Even if you are discussing about fundamental rights, so I am having my fundamental rights, but at the same time, other people are also having fundamental rights. Singularly, individually, I cannot afford to have all the six fundamental rights. So you cannot imagine the situation that in a country, only one person is enjoying all the fundamental rights. Yes, of course, fundamental rights are individual rights, but in political science, you cannot afford to be so individualistic. This is the beauty of political science and politics. What happens in democracies like India, that the politics, the underpinning of democracy is on public. It means ultimate authority. Who is having ultimate authority, at least in principle? The public. But public doesn't know what is politics. If public doesn't know how to participate in different political processes, so what would be the condition of that democracy? With this point, I don't think I need to comment anything further. So in our country, we require political literacy, movement of political literacy in order to participate, in order to strengthen the democratic system. If our individuals, our citizens are not having political literacy, if they're not starting loving politics, if they're not starting participating in politics, so what happened? Yes, of course, we can say that we are the greatest democracy here, but definitely this particular sentence would be shallow. So until unless we are not having political literacy for each and every individual, we cannot say that our country is really, really democratic in not only in spirit but also in functions. Now, I really appeal with this topic that we need. This is the time that we need to question, we need to ask, we need to seek, we need to search, and we need to participate. And why these things are very much important in democracy? Because politics is for good life, and it must be continued for the sake of good life. And this good life, the definition of good life would be varying from one time to another time. But in any given time, in past, in future, in modern time, or in the current time, you require a good life. As an individual, as a community, as a state member, always you expect that you must be having a good life. So definition of good life would be vary, but in any case, you want good life. And if you want to ensure to have good life, not only for you, but for all the people, for the maximum possible people, so you are required to know what is politics and how to indulge in various political processes. I think that this is the time when we must ponder that what exactly is the that what to be like in a democracy means. Democracy in functions. Yes, of course, in books, in literature, we have studied a lot about democracy, but what it would be felt like to be in a democracy. So if you are living in a democracy really, so you will find the virtue of accountability there, not only in the citizen of that country, but you will find accountability almost each and every participant of the political system, starting from the president of the country to the peon of that particular primary school. So each and every office bearer, each and every individual as a citizen must having the sense of accountability. Then only you can say that you are not just reading about democracy, you are living in a democracy. Second thing, transparency. Whatever you are doing, I'm a professor, I'm a teacher. If I'm a teacher, so whatever I'm doing, so I can share it. I can share each and everything what I'm doing. In my public life, whatever I'm doing in the capacity of teacher, so definitely there must be some transparency. Third one is equality in treatment and opportunity. So yes, of course, we are carrying the layers of identities. Everyone is having their own set of identities, and we need to respect that. But while treating while treating with the different peoples, we require the sense of equality and opportunity. I think yesterday, before yesterday, Uttar Pradesh has announced its service commission result, and I cannot comment on that result before 2-3 years, and also I cannot vouch for that result for this year also. But I feel very good when I have heard that the first two toppers are belonging to the state of Haryana. So in the service commission, in the public service, provincial service commission of Uttar Pradesh, the first two toppers are coming from Haryana. So it gives me very a good feeling. I cannot vouch for the whole transparency of the examination because I don't have that authority. I'm not very much indulged in that process. But it was music to my ears because that the thing which I am expecting with all type of offices of my country. But if something is happening somewhere that two toppers are coming from different state, and this is the examination of the same state, the Uttar Pradesh civil services state. So at least you can say that you can sense, you can safely say that there is a treatment and equal opportunity there. As of now, I'm just saying that. I'm not just doing it. I'm not saying that what I'm saying is just 100% correct, but I'm liking that particular thing. And what is equality? Sometimes I have seen various memes and WhatsApp messages and screenshots and there that they are so confused with the concept of equality with the concept of equity, and very unfortunately, I must say that I have found some very reputed type of people. They are sharing that WhatsApp messages and they are saying that equity is far better than equality. But this is not the case actually. This is not the class that I can differentiate between equality and equity. But I must say, what is equality in just one nutshell? What is equality? That if you are treating equally among equals, and if you are being able to treat unequally among unequals, then only you are doing equality. Again, I'm repeating myself. If you are in a position to treat equally among equals and to treat unequally among unequals, then only you can say that you are doing equality. So in that sense, I'm talking about equality. And if you are finding that type of equality, if you're finding that type of accountability, transparency, then only you can say that you are living in a democracy. Now, you must be living in that type of system where people, almost each and every individual, must feel that they are the ultimate authority. Nowadays, in the behavior of many public officials or public leaders, sometimes it looks like that still we are living in the era of monarchy. That in the moment you are communicating with any public official or public leader, and what is your identity? If your identity is just that you are a normal general citizen of India, so it is really very difficult to have access to the services of the state. So your system must be like that in democracy, where an individual must feel that he is the boss, she is the boss, and she is the ultimate authority on that. So democracy in functions, I'm expecting that people must feel that way, that they are the ultimate boss. Next thing, if you are living in a democracy, there is an interconnection between civil society and governments. What happens generally, that government is leading that civil society. This is not correct actually. A civil society must be leading to the government, because government is when you live in that spirit, when you believe in that spirit of democracy, we are not for the government is for us. So civil society must respond, must guide, must monitor, and civil society must be having tab over the functions of government. If you are living in that type of system where civil society prevails over the governments, it means your democracy is really, really working. And the last thing, inclusivity. Whatever governments are deciding, whatever governments are doing, in that policy manifestation, there must be virtue of inclusivity. If in any policy manifestation you are not finding this virtue of inclusivity, definitely democracy is not functioning there. And why I am referring these virtues, these criteria in this PPT? Because definitely in any given society, in any given nation, you won't find all type of criterion which is very much present in that democracy. But you can ensure to have that type of criteria. How you can ensure with the virtue of public speaking? Public speaking is a must thing. You need to question, you need to raise your voice, and if you are in a habit to raise your concerns at times, if you are in a habit to raise your concerns and question, then only you can ensure accountability, transparency, equality, and civil society participation and the virtue of inclusivity. Now, I think this is the last slide, if I can recall. So, people generally think that public speaking, you have just started speaking and you don't have any type of responsibility. But this is not correct, guy. This is not correct. If you are communicating with anybody on public platform, so there must be some concerns and you need to meet that concern. Then only you can qualify as a public speaker. First, you need to ask to yourself that whatever you are speaking, is it unspeakable yet? So if you are speaking only all those things which is already in domain, and if you're not raising any concern, any new concerns, so there are some people who are not being able to speak on some topics and you are sharing those topics, then you are actually qualified as a public speaker. Second thing, on which type of issues you are speaking. Whether the issues are coming from your popular media, whether that issues are coming from popular leaders, or you are picking those issues from the populace, from the common people. So if you are picking the issues of common people on the ground level, then only you are serving the purpose of public speaking. Next thing, that whatever you are speaking, that must be like that. Your audience must be sensing that whatever you are saying, that is very much available in front of eyes, but nobody is able to see that. So you are presenting something unseen, though that is very much present present in front of the eyes of each and everybody, but nobody was sharing that thing. Nobody is speaking on that. So whatever you are doing, whatever you are speaking in a capacity of public speaker, so you must be in a capacity to discover, to uncover that particular unseen thing. Next thing, whatever you are speaking. At the end of the day, you need to choose that type of phrase, you need to choose that type of words, so that people starts connecting with each other. So you are not speaking something which is very much provoking, and at the end of the day, you are not starting any provocation, and at the end of the day, people are not dividing on the lines of caste, class, and different diversities, differences. So you need to connect the people while speaking. Next thing is your concerns. You must be covering all layers of concerns, starting from regional concerns, national concerns, and then global concerns. So if you are a public speaker, so you need to weave those concerns in such a fashion so that you can cover not only the concerns at regional level, national level, but also at the global level. So there must be some interconnectivity between all type of concerns. And the last one, to my mind, that is constructive intervention. Means if you are speaking publicly, so that speaking must be must be felt as constructive intervention. It means you are not just highlighting the issues, you are not just exposing the vulnerabilities of the society or the state. At the same time, you are having some constructive approach, you are offering some constructive solutions also, and after some time your effort must be seen as constructive intervention. Then only you are serving the purpose of public speaking in democracy. If you want to do like that, what I have expected, so you need to adopt flexibility in your approach. You need to be very incorporative. You need to develop sensitivity. You need to develop acceptance for difference and diversity. You need to start a study. So study is not sometimes people say that you are a teacher or you are the student, then will you require a study. No, a study is it's a continuous thing actually. You continuously need to explore yourself in various dimensions. So if you are not studying, you won't be able to speak in that manner which I have expected in the last slide. And then lastly, dialogue process. So it means the moment you are starting communicating with any person, your purpose must be that you are initiating a dialogue. So you are not just offering anything, you are not just announcing anything, but you are trying to initiate a dialogue process so that it will be so constructive that eventually it will initiate a public discourse and it will strengthen the forces of democracy. That's all from my side. Thanks. I'm really thankful to the team of Aama Prayas, and I'm very grateful to the chair, and I'm very grateful to Dr. Jadev that he has given me that opportunity. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stress. It's indeed really very informative and very well organized talk. So we have today our discussant, Mr. Dr. Jairam Singh Samal. Jairam, are you there? If he was there. Okay, might be some internet issues. Let me ask Jaidev if you want to add something. What is your point of view on this topic? Please. You keep your point or your views right now till Jaidev come to.
Jairam bhai, why is not here?
So I think some network issue. He was there. So you keep on. You speak. Then if he, once he join, then I will ask him.
Okay. I think we can take the question answer. Once he joined, we can continue. I think we should start the discussion.
Okay. So we have few questions in our chat box. So
yes.
What I think before we move to the question answer part, if anyone want to ask or add something, so let us most welcome. Otherwise, we will start our questions. Okay, then I think that Pathak, we have few questions in our chat
I
box.
think I should add few points before we go to the discussion. The point is, I think when you talk about public speaking, right? So do we really need to think about the political leaders and the behavior of the public? Right? Why I'm saying, because when you go for public speaking, so the example that we have and then you also talk about the traditional people, religious people who are trying to bring changes in public speaking sphere, or both political and other things. When it comes to modern days, the religious people has changed to the policies, right? So, for example, Obama, our present day, the charisma of religious thing, it's changed to the charisma of the public leaders. Right? The charisma of the this is the charisma factor. Sorry, I have some network issues. The charisma factor that is also came into play when you talk about public speaking in the modern days. Okay. Then second thing that comes to my mind, the role of public in public speaking. Right. So when you're talking about the role of public in public speaking, then we have to understand the education part. Right. Public are not educated. So which means they can easily motivated by the kind of high language or high phrases that were used by the public, by the leaders or the religious leader or the political leaders. The second aspect that comes to the third aspect that comes to my mind. So when you look at the present day scenario, so the corruption, public corruption and everything that comes into play, and the other factor is that the way people are not so those are educated, they're not so actively participated in political process, right? So I think the whole idea of public speaking and getting public opinion and from out of public speaking, that is something is very challenging present, right? So with the advent of technology and everything, the public speaking, everything that goes and another diverse, and that being another diverse element. And why I'm saying the element of technology over here, because if you're looking at the tradition, the public speaking is something was mouth to mouth, right? But nowadays, so if each one has their own voice, right, to look at any issues and give their suggestions, right? For be it the WhatsApp University, we say quote, we say the Facebook, or we say Twitter, or we say Insta, right? So, for example, one can easily take its mobile, the 5.5-inch screen, and say a few things and can motivate people. I think that's also part of public speaking, right? So, in looking at all these wider challenge that public speaking is having right now, so I'd like to pose some question to the speaker as well as to the participants, how to look into this changing dimension of public speaking and how it is influencing the larger discourse of public speaking in democracy. Because, so that's come to my third point, the third aspect of the second aspects of democracy, right? So for me, democracy is a very, very high Hippocratic form of society, right? Because we talk about people, but everything runs by the minority over majority, right? Because I'm saying the handful of people, like take the case of India or US, any democratic society, but the handful of people who controls the power, they controls everything. So how this particular controlling of power and information that influence this public speaking and public sharing. So with this, I would like to conclude my point, and I would to open the things for the question and answers. Thank you.
So thank you, Jaydev. Right now, with us, our discussant Jairam. I would like to ask Jairam, please keep your point on this topic. Jairam, please.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, Dr. Pathak, for that insightful presentation. And you have actually, I quite like your presentation style, because you defining conventional tradition of presenting political theory topic starting from West. You started the presentation from Eastern perspective, so it's a very different approach of looking at public speaking theory. So actually, I missed last part of your presentation regarding concerns of public speaking because of network issue. As you have rightly pointed out, how India have a long tradition of public speaking, and especially your points on Bhakti and Sufi movement, how these movements have enlarged public speaking discourse in Indian context. Then in relation to democracy, how public speaking is towards civic engagement, and so it helps in deepening democracy and importance of how asking question, seeking answer, then participating. This three will ensure a good life in a democratic setup. Then lastly, I guess you have pointed out the role of dialogue in a democracy, and public speaking is very crucial or important from that perspective. So basically, if as you have talked about Indian tradition of public speaking, how we have 800 years of continuous tradition of discussion and debate, starting from that NYAYA SUTRA, then Kautilya, or normally discuss about Vada Vivada philosophy, or we have a agreement to disagree. We agree to disagree on various points. We don't have only have the diversity in language, clothing, or food pattern. We have diversity in ideas, and in Indian context, we agree to disagree on ideas. So that's a nice, feature of Indian political tradition. But I will like to point out in traditional Indian political public speaking, the traditional or ancient political discourse on public speaking is uncritical, unapologetic, and inegalitarian in nature. It is uncritical towards the hierarchical system or caste system or gender discrimination. It is unapologetic towards the human practice. It has done to majority of Indian population. Then it is inegalitarian in nature. But there is space for public speaking, but it is restricted or limited to particular section. Like we have Raj Darbar, जो दरबार में होते हैं दरबारी, they have right to public speaking. For example, we have Sabha Samiti during Rigvedic period. So what I'm trying to point out, yes, we have a long public speaking tradition, but it is limited, or its application is limited to particular group or section, and it is more philosophical rather than political. Theoretically or on idea level, it is at top, but we need to look into practice. If we look into practice level, then somehow the theories are not properly worked in field. Then I would like to add little bit. You went up to medieval tradition. Freedom movement or freedom struggle has a great role in cultivating and encouraging public speaking culture, starting from Raja Rammohn Rai, then famous Tilak case when he was charged under sedition case, and simply Gandhi, his trial after non-cooperation movement. When Ambedkar was asked why he favored a parliamentary form of government, he said instead of stability, he will prefer a accountable government. So then in post-independent India, we can take example of Lohia and Jayaprakash Narayan in his total revolution concept. They stress gave much importance to this freedom of expression. So in modern India or in contemporary India, if we will see our constitutional provision or laws, like they promote public speaking. They are in encouraging public speaking, like Right to Information Act. We need to know information before I express my view properly. But in practice level, I think there are three concerns, three major actors which against which general public need to be guarded. Like I believe state, majoritarianism, and minoritarianism. These three actors are continuously, trying to squeeze the space available for the general public. Like for example, take the example of this Kafil Khan case in UP or present Kangana Ranawat case. In both cases, the state is using all its mechanism, we may agree or disagree with their opinion, but state is trying to, suppress their right to freedom of expression. Then in case of minoritism, like in Sahaban case, we can see how minoritism act as a hindrance in the progressive legislation, and it somehow defy or defeated the rational or logical argument given for women emancipation or equal women right. And we all know about majoritarianism, what's going on. So I think these three actors, state, majoritarianism, and minoritarianism, to look into them while discussing about public discourse. Then another thing is that role of social media. This age of internet, this public speaking is no more elitist or confined to few people. Now anyone can give their opinion on any topic, whether he has any knowledge on it or not. We are talking about WhatsApp University or using this kind of term. So how to, I don't know, but how to adjust this freedom of expression or public speaking with democratic right. You have right to express your opinion, but at the same time you must not offend, or we need to keep in mind unity, integrity of the nation. We can't completely neglect that side. So I think these are the few concerns or few issues we need to look into while discussing on the topic of public speaking, especially social media. Actually, even I think social scientists are busy to find out how to, it's a kind of democratization process. It has given freedom to everyone, but at the same time, it has playing a negative role also. So I think these are the few concerns on which further discussion and debate is needed. And thank you, last of all. Your presentation is really good, and I like your style of presentation. You started from the Eastern perspective. That's quite new, actually. That's right. Thank you.
Thank you, Jairam. Dr. Pathak, before we start our question answer session from the chat box, I have one curiosity or a clarification just in one topic. That is, you in your presentation you said that civil society must be vocal for fair criticism. But most of the time, the government don't appreciate that. Government several times it's against or ignore that, or sometimes don't tolerate that. So how you look or what is your view on this kind of issue? So.
Thank you, Prafulji. Yes, what you have asked, Prafulji, that is a really concern of the day. There is nothing like any concrete answer to this question, but I need to elaborate this particular situation here. That how government is becoming so powerful so that it can restrict your criticism, so that it can restrict the response of civil society. It means, in a way, as an individual, as a citizens, we are continuously doing something which is continuously making so powerful. The governments are becoming so powerful so that they can restrict the natural, the spontaneous responses of civil society. And if you go to the root of the all problems, what Jairam sir has said, what Jaidev sir has also said. If somebody would ask me what would be the solution, truly what would be the solution? Yes, we can have another discussion on that, but I find in my capacity for last 4-5 years, continuously I'm thinking that what would be the possible solution. So for me, solution is political literacy, which also I have it reiterated in my slides also. Believe me, even as a teacher, as a student of political science, somewhere we are not that confident while communicating political dimensions. Political literacy, we have not yet identified the significance of political literacy. In our country, nobody is talking about political literacy. Everyone is talking about, I can give you one example here, that suppose in any state, Bihar, Odisha, or any state, suppose state elections are approaching. So the moment elections are approaching, everybody would be talking in terms that what are the equation, what would be the population of this particular caste, what would be the population of this particular religion. So we are talking in terms of that we are the leaders actually. We are the participant in the elections. we are having that type of discussion, which must be done by the political participants, the people who are participating in electoral processes. As a citizen, we must not indulge ourselves in that type of discussion, because for ourselves, politics is not a game. Politics is not entertainment like World Cup, that World Cup cricket World Cup. No, what type of discussion we need to have? Suppose we are having political literacy. I am talking in general sense. I'm not saying that nobody is having political literacy. No, I'm not saying that. But in majority, or you can say that our population is somewhere lacking this political literacy. And if we are having that political literacy, so what would be having that type of what type of discussion we are having? We would be having this type of discussion, that in the last election, there are three issues, and out of three issues, one issue would be have been resolved by the leader of that political party who won in that last election. But still there are two issues. There are two issues left, and there are one more issues which is very much pertinent. So the moment you are having elections, and if our mass is having our general mass is having political literacy, so discussions, the topic of discussions, the topic of the indulgence, public indulgences would be on this type of topic, that our problem would be related to roads, our problem would be related to infrastructure, our problem would be related to unemployment. But the moment election is approaching, we are indulging ourselves in that type of debate, that who are going to win that, who is going to be the Sikandar of that election, how that party is spending so much money, and that that leader is having that type of clout. And very rightly, Dr. Zadev has talked about charisma thing. I think definitely we need to include the role of public here also. And on that behalf, I need to respond that from the first slide, I'm saying that in democracy would be meaningless if there is no participation of public population or people. So, and when you when you participate in politics, then you know that participating in politics would be a beneficial idea. Right now, we are just taking politics as an entertainment. Why would I participate in political processes if this politics is not offering me any benefit? If this politics is not offering me a good life, so why would I participate in the politics? So to identify the benefits in participating politics, we require political literacy. And why governments are becoming so powerful? Because we are lack political literacy. Because they are very much confident that people are not understanding the thing, that they are the authority in democracy. I think we are missing somewhere, and we are not being able to give that political literacy. We are not being able to learn this political literacy, and that is the need of our Praful sir.
Okay. Thank you for your elaborate discussion on that. So it's right now I think it's more clear. So we have few questions in our chat box. So could you take it, please, or should I read out from here? So that the first question from Pradeep Kumar Swami, he is one of our members from the Prayas, he's a senior member. He has raised one question. Spiritual leaders are delivering good public speaking, how it relates to democracy. So what would be your view on this?
It's a very good question actually, because if you just generally think that who are the good speakers right now, who are having ample impact over population, so definitely they are the spiritual leaders. Though I'm having very much reservation that whether we can call them as a spiritual leaders, at least all of them. But yes, of course, they are having impact over the population. So how it is very much connected to democracy. So first, we to understand this question, we need to understand that suppose we are having a democratic spirit in our behavior. We know what is democracy. So there are some topics which we need to understand, that there are some public concerns, there are some personal concerns. What is the role of religion in public discourse? We need to identify first. And the moment you are being able to identify the role of religion here, then you can be able to gauge the overall impact of spiritual leaders on common mass. So yes, of course, in our country, you will be finding a tradition of spiritual leaders who have intervened in political discourse and who have changed the regime also. So if they are taking the public issues, suppose any spiritual leader who are having their own set of clout, and if he is taking issues of public concern, so definitely it will strengthen the forces of democracy. But if spiritual leaders are not taking the issues which are very much connected to all, which are not related to all, so definitely it would hamper the health of democracy. So you need to check. We need to check that if there is a one spiritual leader, definitely he is having a very powerful clout. But what type of issues that spiritual leader is taking? If he is taking public issues, so definitely he would act as a member of civil society. So with the help of that spiritual leader, if he is taking public issues, so it means our civil society is responding. So this is a great thing. And in a way, we can connect spiritual leaders to democracy.
Okay, thank you. Pradeep bhai, you were there. You want to add, or if you want more clarification, then you can ask. You can unmute yourself, Pradeep bhai. Pradeep bhai, you unmute. Your mic is mute. Yeah, right now. You can speak right now. Yeah.
Pradeep ji, you are not audible to me. Pradeep ji, you are not audible.
Hello, Pathak ji. Hello.
Yes, now you are audible.
Hello, Pathak ji. Thank you. I appreciate your presentation. Your presentation mesmerized me.
Thank you. Thank you.
So actually, my question, you responded my query actually, my understanding actually. But one thing actually, in a secular country, so democracy and constitution we have to address actually. So spiritual leaders, some extent they are not been secular on my context actually. Some extent their appearance is not been secular actually. So how the public speaking and the appearance will be simultaneously addressed towards the democracy? That was the my concern actually.
Pradeep ji, one thing I need to clear here. What exact connotation you are taking with the word public? I think anything which is happening on the public stage, that is not public. In a political science discipline, I am taking only those type of things under the domain of public, which is very much connected to each and every individual. So here we are discussing about politics, and in politics, public, the definition of public means that any issue, anything which is very much related. You are taking the example of a spiritual leader, because spiritualism is a different thing. Rather, we need to pick that word that they are the religious leaders only. And being a religious leader or being a spiritual leader also, if they are taking public issue, then it's fine. But if they are not taking any public issue, if they are taking any religious issue, if they are taking any spiritual issue, if they are taking any personal issue, so definitely that would hamper the health of democracy. But being a spiritual leader, guru, or a public speaker of any type, if the person is taking public issue, means the issue is very much related to all, then definitely his intervention would be strengthening the health of democracy. So we need to be very careful while bifurcating the two, while differentiating between the two. Pradeep ji.
Yes, I think that
Thank you so much.
response.
Thank you so much.
So it means there is a great difference between spiritual leader and religious figure. Yeah. Thanks. So next question in our chat box is from Balochan Behera. His question is how you look at the current state of democracy and rising inequality in society.
If you are asking me personally, so it is not good to be very pessimistic, at least on public stages. But yes, of course, I agree that there are some growing concerns. And I'm not very much disappointed from our governments, whether be it state governments or central governments. I am I am having my level of disappointment with the response of civil society. Actually, I am having expectation to some members of the civil society, means respected doctors, lawyers, respected professors, respected individuals who are having sufficient amount of clout over the population. If governments are like that, they are not accepting criticism, so why they are not responding? So because governments, they are the serving institutions. If the masters are not very much capable, if the masters are not very much careful, so definitely servants would be doing like that. So I'm not disappointing with the behavior of governments. They are behaving like that because we are like that. So which type of we are, we deserve that type of government because we are not participating in the politics. But my disappointment with the civil society, the response of civil society, I'm not very big person here anywhere, but I am having this I'm having great expectation to my seniors, the great scholars, professors, lawyers, teachers, civil servants, in their personal capacity, why they are not responding in a unique ways. This is my area of concern. So yes, but still I'm very much optimistic that after some time, in the history of every nation, things are like that. You will find history in zigzag way. So definitely civil society will respond, and definitely our democracy will regain its strength and flourish in future.
Okay. Thank you. There is another question from Sam Balachan Behera that what is your opinion on relationship between democracy, corruption, and underdeveloped states? So
yes, this question can be responded by two ways. Theoretically, also I can respond that there is a concept of political decay in political science and by Samuel P. Huntington. And in that concept, there is two things that at one hand you are having the process of institutionalization, and at another hand, corresponding to that particular institutionalization, you are having public mobilization. Sometimes what happens in the countries, especially in the countries who are having colonial past, either they are not having political mobilization coming from the mass, either they are not having the establishment of the institutions. So if you are having the development or the institutionalization process, which is not corresponding to the mobilization of the masses, then definitely in place of political development, you are having political decay. And in our country, the moment we got independence, after 2 years, 3 years, we are having constitutions. So we are very much able to establish political institutions, but in same ratio, you can say, corresponding to that institutionalization, we are not being able to invoke our population, our citizens, into an aware mass. We cannot be able. We have not been able to mobilize them. That's why we are witnessing instances of political decay here, actually, and you can understand this thing which you have raised, that corruption and especially underdeveloped state. So you see that the most of the underdeveloped countries are having colonial past. And colonial past means that all the traditional structures where this disfigured by the colonial masters. So we have not found ample time to mobilize the mass in the same way the Western countries had their revolutions and had their mobilization process. So in country like India, who is still, we cannot say that our economy is not, that we are not, we are just a poor country right now. Yes, of course, we are the, I think we are the top 10 economy of the world. But you will find here that there is no sense of inclusivity. Here, grassroots level democracy, grassroots level percolation of development, you won't find. So because of that process, one thing theoretically I have answered, and second thing again and again I'm repeating that the once we are having the sense of political literacy in our common mass, they will speak their voice, they will share their concerns, and then we would be having that type of governments who are very much aware that right now we are dealing with the aware mass. These are not the population who are lacking political literacy, and we just make a personality larger than life and we can capture the votes. We just make offer a charismatic leadership and we can capture the votes. If you are having political literacy, so definitely you would be having an accountable government, responsive government, and that government would be very, very careful while dealing with the population, because that population is now being converted as an aware mass. So political literacy, the campaign for political literacy is the need of the hour.
Okay, thank you. I think you have responded very well to Balochan's question. I hope the next question from Jairam, our discussant. So his question is, in wider sense, if we can include art, literature, drama, film, songs, etc. as part of public discourse, how do you see their role in promoting culture of debate, discourse, and dissent in country like India? So what's your view on this?
This is a very beautiful question. I must say that it's a very complimentary question. As I have mentioned in that slide where I have mentioned about Bhakti movement, you see in Bhakti movement, you won't find the tradition of public speaking on a stage where one individual would start speaking in front of the people. In Bhakti movement, what happened there? You will find the tradition of saints, and they are the people of the mass. They are the people on common ground, and they just pick the issues of worldly issues, and they are the masters. I must say they are the maestros, and they just interlink the spiritual issues to the worldly issues, and at the same time they are addressing God. At the same time they are preaching about love, adoration, and cooperation, and at the same time they are exposing vulnerabilities. So with the introduction of with the help of art forms and film, drama, and literature, definitely public speaking would be more powerful and more tangent, and more it will work more. It will go at the deep level, and it will touch the heart and mind of the people, and it would have everlasting impact. So definitely, I'm very thankful to this question that he has added one more dimension to that public speaking. That public speaking, not just that I'm just speaking to the mass. No, I can communicate with any form of the art. So if in a movie, if there is an actor, you have written a dialogue, so that dialogue is playing that part, which is very much essential in a democracy. It might be possible that in a given story, in a given drama, that character is speaking the same concern, which must be accepted, which is very much expected to the civil society. So yes, and I must say here also that almost in each and every era, art forms, drama, literature, they played their part like this. So yeah, of course, we can embrace, we can accept that in public speaking, they are the part and parcel of that whole discourse. Actually, thank you. I'm really thankful for this aspect.
Okay, thank you. So it means this is a supplement to your topic, I think. Yeah. So next question from Dhirendra. He is asking, how significant is freedom of speech in public speaking?
No, of course, this is the essential part. You are having opportunity. Suppose you are having an opportunity to speak, but at the time of speaking, you are very much aware that you are not having freedom of speech. So even if you are having opportunity, you cannot translate that requirement into reality. So you are having a stage or you are not having a stage. That doesn't matter if you're not entertaining, if you're not having free access to the right of free speech. So first you need to have that freedom of speech. And fortunately in our country, we are having that freedom of speech with reasonable restrictions. So I think there is no problem at the constitutional level. It's us who are not exercising that power. And because our society is being fractured, the leaders of our civil society, they're not responding. That's why as an individual, we're not finding that much courage to speak, though we are knowing at our heart that we are having access to freedom of speech, but we're not exercising that. So this is the reason. And what you have said, yes, of course, this is very much essential feature. Public speaking is not going to be happen if you're not having freedom of speech.
Okay, thank you. So that's I think in our chat box questions, and you have answered very well. And so you actually let me put some words for you. So really, it was very well organized, very informative presentation, and you spoke very well on the topic, which is very important in our day-to-day life. We must know this kind of topic. And so before we conclude today's discussion, so I would like to ask one of our member actually, who is the man behind all this group and all this discussion. So he is Deepak Kumar Das, who is Indian Economic Service. So Deepak, if you are there, please, what is your view or any point you want to say something or ask something? Please, for you speak at least. Deepak, please. Deepak, so Deepak is.
I'm actually I'm going to so sorry for that.
So your voice is breaking, Deepak. Is not clearly audible what you are saying. Hello. Okay, I think some network issue might be, so something is going wrong. So today I think it is a very good discussion we had, and it was very nice presentation. I would like to thank our speaker, Dr. C.S. Pathak. For formal vote of thanks, I would request one of our student member of this group, Tanusri, are you there? If you are there, please extend a formal vote of thanks to thee.
Thank you, sir, for giving such a privilege. It is my privilege to propose vote of thanks. Good afternoon, everyone. As all good things comes to an end, so is the today's webinar. On behalf of Aama Prayas group, I must mention our deep sense of appreciation. Our today's chief speaker. Dr. Shish Kumar Pathak sir, Assistant Professor, Amity Institute of International Studies, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh. Sir, it was really very informative and well organized sessions, and I think we must learn many more things from today's on topic evaluations of public speaking and democracy. So it was nice presentations from you, and you presented very smoothly and lucidly. And once again, I would like to I would like to thank Dr. Prafullo Kumar Swain sir, Chair, Assistant Professor, Department of Statistics, Utkal University. Sir, I really proud of you. You managed very well the sessions. And once I would also like to thank our discussants, Jairem Singh Samal sir, Assistant Professors, Model Degree College, Nayagarh, and also Jaidev sir. We learned many more things for your discussions. We just keep our Mr. Pathak sir's sessions. We learn many more things from you. I would like to special thanks goes to Biswajit Pani sir for arranging YouTube streaming live, which helps us to again sir listening the sessions, and we skipped in the session at the time of session, and we repeat and we again listening the sessions, and we make such notes from the session from your cooperations. And lastly, last not but least, I would like to thank you all participants for showing in their interest in these sessions. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so actually Deepak was in a meeting, so that's why he could not reply to my request. So thank you all. Thank you, Pathak. Thank you, Jaidev, and all the participants. So let us.
Thank you.
This is come to an end.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tanushree. Such a